Sore ini kita kedatangan tamu yang jarang-jarang mungkin kita temui. Dia adalah Mr. Ali Reza Yawari. Beliau seorang pengungsi dari Afghanistan. Jadi dalam rangka memperingati 20 tahun Kite, jadi ternyata kita udah 20 tahun juga menerbitkan Kite Runner yang sudah direpublish 5 kali, yang membuat kita semua menangis berurai air mata membacanya. Kedatangan Mr. Ali Reza ini akan bicara tentang bagaimana pengalaman dia sebagai seorang pengungsi Afghanistan. Beliau datang 2014 di usia 15 tahun. Kemudian dia udah 9 tahun ya di Indonesia. Setelah 5 tahun sebelumnya di penampungan pengungsi di Kupang, tapi meskipun dengan segala keterbatasannya, kondisinya stateless di negara, tapi beliau karya-karyanya sangat luar biasa ya. Dia adalah filmmaker, terus kemudian dia penulis, terus kemudian dia juga sering menjadi pembicara di seminar internasional. Salah satunya adalah konferensi masyarakat madani ASEAN. Sebuah karya-karya yang luar biasa, mengingat sekarang usianya masih pertengahan 20-an aja belum ada gitu. Nah, ini nanti sesinya akan diadakan dalam bahasa Inggris dipandu oleh Mas Panji, tapi teman-teman nggak usah khawatir, nanti Mas Panji akan menerjemahkan, dan apabila ada pertanyaan jangan ragu-ragu untuk mengacungkan tangan, bertanya boleh bahasa Indonesia, boleh bahasa Inggris. Kalau dalam bahasa Indonesia akan diterjemahkan juga oleh Mas Panji. Oke, tidak berpanjang lebar, mari kita sambut Mr. Ali Reza. Saya baru aja mau ngomong Mas Ali Reza dan Mas Panji. Ali Reza, oh Ali Rafnya enggak ada. Oke, silakan.
Okay. Sorry. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore semua teman-teman, semoga teman-teman dalam keadaan sehat walafiat. Hari ini seperti sudah disampaikan Mbak Esti tadi, kita akan bincang-bincang bersama Ali Reza. Nanti mungkin sebagian akan pakai bahasa Inggris dan sebagian pakai bahasa Indonesia. Untuk pembukaan saya pakai bahasa Indonesia dulu. Juga saya mau menyampaikan bahwa di sini kita kedatangan tamu istimewa, ada Mas Agustinus Wibowo, penulis, dan juga ada Mas Putra, penulis fiksi gitu. Oke, kita langsung lanjut saja. Halo Ali, can I call you Ali?
Ya, halo, selamat sore semua.
Okay.
Call me Ali, that's easier.
Or Mas Ali?
No, Ali is fine.
Ali, okay. Okay, we have a few questions for you. Could you tell us about yourself? For example, where do you come from, and what your occupation here?
Okay, thank you. I thought you were talking that you're going to translate in Bahasa, so I'm going to start in Bahasa just to let you know that I know a little bahasa.
Oke, it's good.
Nama saya Ali Reza Yawari. Saya dari Afghanistan, etnis Hazara. And nice to see everyone here. I came to Indonesia in 2014 as an asylum seeker. I've been living in here for almost 9 years as a refugee. I've been to different cities in Indonesia, like Kupang, Makassar, Surabaya, Jakarta, Bogor, and today in Bandung. I'm very pleased to be here.
Oke, jadi Mas Ali tadi bilang dia datang ke Indonesia tahun 2014. Dia sudah 9 tahun menjadi pengungsi di sini dan tinggal di banyak kota, diantaranya di Kupang, Surabaya, Jakarta, dan juga Bandung, Makassar. Gitu. Tell us, what makes you decide to leave your home at that time, and aren't you afraid? Because I think at the time you were very young.
I'm sure you don't have much knowledge about refugees or the situations in countries like Afghanistan, but usually when there is war, there are refugees. When there is conflict, there are people who are seeking safety for a safe place. And I'm one of the people who was born and raised in a country where there is still war, and there is a specific violence and persecution toward specific ethnicities and minorities.
Oke, tadi saya bertanya, apa yang memutuskan Ali untuk meninggalkan rumahnya di Afghanistan? Jadi Ali menyampaikan bahwa pada saat itu terjadi perang dan kemudian juga orang-orang karena ingin menyelamatkan dirinya lebih memilih untuk menjadi pengungsi. Nah, terutama itu juga terjadi kepada etnis spesifik, ya etnisnya Ali kan di Afghanistan tuh ada banyak etnis. Ada etnis mayoritasnya itu ada Pashtun. Ini sebenarnya nggak dibilang, ini saya cerita aja. Pashtun dan juga kalau ada Hazara. Ali itu dari etnis Hazara, itu etnis minoritas. Jadi kalau teman-teman pernah baca Kite Runner itu ada salah satu tokohnya yang memang dari Hazara juga, dan kebetulannya namanya pun sama Ali juga. Bukan ya? Bapaknya Ali ya? Oke. Ya sudah lama baca ya.
This was a mislead just to make sure you read the book.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ali. You saved me.
Sure.
Okay. Could you tell us more about your journey as a refugee? How you can come to Indonesia and buy what you can here?
Yeah, well, back then when there were situations happening to us in Afghanistan, so on those occasions, usually there are not many options to take. And for me to happen was to find a place where I can go to seek safety, which I ended up in Indonesia, starting from Afghanistan to India, and then from India to Malaysia, and then to Indonesia through by boat through water. This was arranged by the people who are making these arrangements to happen after there is a situation of war, conflict, persecution, or something comes up. So people find any way to seek safety.
Okay, do you know at the time that you will end up here in Indonesia?
I didn't know.
Okay.
Personally, I didn't know. And Indonesia was not a country that I know on that time. Yeah. Well, my geography was good, but Indonesia is very far from my place. So I didn't know about Indonesia.
Oke, saya potong dulu. Jadi Ali cerita bahwa dia berangkat ke Indonesia itu melalui perahu. Sebelumnya juga sempat singgah di beberapa negara lain. Tadi beliau menjabatkan di India di antaranya. Dan sebelumnya beliau sama sekali tidak ada bayangan bahwa dia akan mendarat atau berakhir di sini di Indonesia gitu, menjadi pengungsinya. Dan juga tidak tahu juga mengenai Indonesia gitu. Sebagian teman-teman tadi menyimak. Oke, I want to know specifically how did you live in the boat? Because it could be take months in the boat.
No, for that part, that passage from Malaysia to Indonesia by boat, you mean?
Yes.
That was very specific passage to, I don't know, crossing the border, water by boat. This was one night only, some hours.
From Malaysia to Indonesia, but from Afghanistan to India?
From Afghanistan to Indonesia is almost a month.
Okay.
So I was almost 1 month on the way. It's a long way.
Oke. Punten Kang Pampan bisa digeser mejanya dikit, ini mungkin sinyalnya ke distraksi. Yang Ali hilang mic suaranya.
That's
Oke, ada
okay.
lagi. Oke, you can continue.
Yeah, I was waiting for translation.
Oke. Jadi Ali itu ya tadi tidak singgah langsung ke Indonesia, tapi kalau yang sebelumnya tidak detail juga, tapi dari Malaysia ke Indonesia itu hanya 1 malam gitu. Oke. Did you when in the boat, how do you eat? Did someone give you some food?
No.
No.
No. I mean, that's not to be described in one sentence, the situation on the boat. But I don't know if anyone has read my book. I wrote about it. So I explained a little bit of the story, what happened in the boat, how scary it was for me, for people in the boat, the children, the women, the storm happening that night, the rain, the waves. I'm telling word by word just to kind of picture something for you. That was a dangerous short journey, very scary, and it could end up to death. But luckily I'm here.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. What kind of boat, may I know?
It's a motorboat, a small motorboat.
Just small boat.
Yeah.
How many people there?
A lot of people. I couldn't make it to count, but it was more than the capacity. So it was overloaded.
Oke. Jadi ketika Ali menyeberang itu dia menaiki perahu yang motorboat biasa, perahu kecil, dan juga Ali tidak ingat berapa jumlah orangnya, tapi yang jelas di sana adalah over, kelebihan muatan di sana. Dan pada saat menyeberang juga terjadi badai, hujan dan gelombang yang tinggi dan bisa membahayakan nyawa, dan alhamdulillah tapi Ali bisa selamat sampai ke sini. Dan mengenai detailnya Ali menceritakan di bukunya yang mungkin nanti akan di-share oleh Ali gitu. Okay, so you have been 9 years in Indonesia right now, but do you know how many refugees, Afghan refugees here in Indonesia right now?
Well, totally there are 12,000 plus refugees in Indonesia, and out of these 12,000 plus are if I'm not wrong with the data, it's half of them, or more than half of these 12,000 are from Afghanistan, mainly Hazara ethnicity, who are spread it out through Indonesia, living in different cities, like Kupang, Makassar, Surabaya, Jakarta, Bogor, Pekanbaru, Medan, Tanjung Pinang. Yeah, and for most of the refugees, it has become more than 9 and 10 years that they have been living in Indonesia as refugees inside the parentheses with no basic rights of going to school, going to university, finding employment, getting married, or any legal identity to be backed up by Indonesian law. Yeah.
Oke. Jadi saya tadi bertanya sama Ali, ada berapa orang pengungsi saat ini ada di Indonesia. Jadi menurut Ali kurang lebih ada 12.000 pengungsi dan kurang lebih setengahnya itu dari Afghanistan dan kebanyakan mereka itu dari etnis Hazara. Dan ini tersebar di banyak kota di Indonesia, diantaranya Medan, Kupang, saya lupa lagi tadi, apalagi kotanya? Tanjung Pinang, ya oke. Dan mereka itu sudah rata-rata 9-10 tahun. Saat ini mereka tidak punya hak untuk sekolah, bekerja, atau bahkan menikah. Dan mereka juga tidak punya legalitas ID Indonesia karena statusnya adalah pengungsi gitu. So all of these refugees, what are they doing here?
They're keeping themselves alive is the main thing what they do,
Okay.
and waiting for something happen to be transferred to another country where they can live with dignity and legal status, or go back to their country if it is safe for them, which for most of countries of origin for refugees it's impossible throughout the history of those countries.
Oke, tadi saya bertanya ke Ali, apa kegiatan para pengungsi itu di Indonesia. Jadi ya tiada lain hanya survive saja, bertahan hidup di sini. Karena segala aktivitasnya terbatas, seperti tadi sudah disampaikan. Mereka juga menunggu dipindahkan, berharap bisa pindah ke negara lain, tapi dengan status yang lebih terhormat dan secara hukum ini sah statusnya untuk mungkin menjadi warga negara yang dituju nanti. Dan apakah ada opsi untuk kembali ke Afghanistan? Ali tadi mengatakan ini ya sepertinya hampir tidak mungkin. Kalau sudah pergi ya susah untuk kembali lagi ke negara aslinya begitu. Okay, tell me about yourself. What is your activity with other refugees in Indonesia? Your activity.
Speaking of myself and my activities, it's going to be long, so I'm cutting it into parts. Since I was in detention center.
Sorry, there is a technical problem.
Waiting for that to be fixed.
Diputar aja mejanya supaya antenanya ngadep ke sini. Nah, gitu. Please try check.
It's not working.
It's not working. Kita tukar aja ya ininya. You can use mine.
Oh yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Cek, cek. Okay, you can continue, Ali.
Yeah. So I was saying that in the early days when I was in detention center, I was questioning the situation. That when I say detention center, just to give you a picture, it's a place where people are put and they close the door and they have to live there for unlimited time. And I was living with a group of people, children, and people from different backgrounds, different countries, different age range. My questions were like, what are we going to do in here? Let's say we are in this hall for 1 or 2 hours. We keep talking and that's it. Suppose if we are here for longer time. What are we going to do? We cannot just sit, eat, and sleep. We have to be doing things. We have to make this a place to live. And I was very much trying to find hope for that very desperate situation. And I started to learn, help my friends to learn, and make a circle of people who can learn things together. And out of those learning times we made there, it led me and of course few of my friends to other good times that I'm here talking today about part of my activities, which I will talk later after your translation.
Okay.
Also for my friends.
Okay, let me translate first.
Sure.
Jadi ketika di kamp pengungsian itu mungkin bentuknya seperti aula gitu ya, seperti ini. Dan waktu itu terasa begitu lama. Nah, Anda bayangkan jika Anda berada di situasi seperti itu, tidak ada yang bisa dikerjakan, berbicara juga terus-menerus, ya waktu terasa lama karena nggak tahu lagi apa yang bisa dikerjakan di sana. Kemudian akhirnya Ali mulai memutuskan untuk belajar sesuatu. Nanti kita tanya lagi maksudnya belajar apa saja dan mencari orang-orang yang mau belajar yang satu circle sama dia gitu. Ya, yang satu frekuensi. Okay, you can continue.
Yeah. So we started learning with the most important one, language. And for us it was English because different nationalities.
Okay.
Second, we had a hope of going to another country. And of course we needed language, as well as we needed to communicate with the local community. Learning Bahasa directly is impossible. We needed a middle language to use it for learning. And we tried to use this circle to spread it to other people as well, to start kind of self-run classes for children. Of course, they were at least my very initial concern because I could see refugee children are just sitting on a corner and have nothing to do during their day.
How old are the children?
All age range. We had newborn babies, we had toddlers, we had 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and all ranges. And then it was very saddening time for me to see people are just sitting on a corner and doing nothing, and we had to bring joy for the children with bringing them together and having something to do. And what can be more fun than learning for them?
Okay, I agree with you. Let me translate first.
Sure.
Jadi di tengah kekosongan tadi, kekosongan kegiatan, Ali mulai mengajak belajar bahasa Inggris, dan juga menurut Ali itu mustahil untuk belajar bahasa Indonesia langsung tanpa bahasa perantara. Jadi Ali menganggap bahwa bahasa Inggris ini adalah bahasa perantara untuk belajar bahasa Indonesia. Dan selain itu ada fungsi lainnya. Dengan harapan karena bahasa Inggris itu mungkin ya karena bahasa internasional dan banyak dipakai di banyak negara, ini bisa sangat berguna kemanapun nanti para pengungsi ini akan pergi ke negara yang mereka impikan gitu. Nah, Ali memiliki concern terutama pada anak-anak. Tadi saya tanya anak-anaknya ada usia berapa saja. Ali bilang dari bahkan yang newborn pun, bayi yang baru lahir pun ada sampai usia 9 tahun. Dan kondisinya menyedihkan karena mereka hanya bisa duduk di pojok tanpa melakukan apa-apa. Tidak sebagaimana layaknya anak-anak lain di Indonesia yang bisa banyak aktivitas. Karena mereka kan nggak bisa kemana-mana, hanya diam di situ. Ini menurut Ali sangat menyedihkan melihat anak-anak seperti itu, dan juga menurut Ali cara terbaik yang bisa membawa mereka kesenangan, kebahagiaan untuk anak-anak itu adalah dengan belajar. Oke, you can continue.
Yeah. So we started such self-run classes, coming together and bringing hope and joy for the children, for us, for other people around. And after some time we found this spread it out to all people in the place that we are living. And more people are coming and joining us. And after some time we see that we have a very well organized number of classes, very regular people wake up in the morning with a hope, with an interest to join the classes. Some of my friends were teaching, some of them were learning as students. So we established a community of learning with very, very little resources, which we always had these challenges with people who were providing the place in terms of having the light on for us, having the door open for us to get into one room and study together. There is always these issues. Sometimes we needed to buy some stationery to go out of that place, but we were not allowed to. So we were struggling with a lot of challenges and issues, despite we were trying to make something good in there and make good use of our time.
Oke. Jadi setelah nggak nyala. Cek. Apa-apa lah ya kedengarannya atau saya pakai mic? Tapi ke YouTube nggak akan masuk ini. Saya pakai tarik dulu mic itu aja. Bagian mic. Cek. Jadi setelah Ali berinisiatif membuat kelas tadi, makin banyak orang yang tertarik juga untuk belajar, kemudian dan lama-kelamaan ini semakin terorganisir, jadi ada kelas-kelasnya. Di antara mereka juga ada yang mengajar, ada yang belajar juga, dan juga semakin banyak pengungsi yang bergabung ke kelas belajar itu sendiri. Tapi juga ada satu kesulitan lain, mereka kan membutuhkan alat-alat tulis ya, alat-alat tulis untuk belajar. Tapi sementara para pengungsi ini tidak diizinkan keluar dari kamp pengungsian, dan ini juga menyulitkan bagi mereka. Ada yang kelewat nggak ya tadi? Udah ya kayaknya. Okay. You start the initiative to learn, but with whom you learn first? Because you need to learn before transfer to another person, you have to learn first, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Self-learn.
Self-learning.
Yeah, and that was the only option we had there. We couldn't find a teacher from outside coming to teach us. To some extent, online learning for us was kind of impossible because of two things. First, we were not, for some specific period of time, we were not allowed to have any electronic device with us. Second, even if so, it was very expensive to afford on that time for connecting to internet and every other thing after. But then self-learn was the only option.
You learn by book or what kind of tools?
Different means. Sometimes learning doesn't exclude to specific things like classroom setting of teacher-student learning. No.
No, I mean,
And my interpretation of learning is different. That's why I find a way to learn. For example, I sit with someone and talking, and I'm learning
Oh,
from
okay.
what
I
we
see.
talk about.
I
And this is also a notice for people that refugees coming from any origin are bringing a lot of expertise with them.
Okay.
So in that place, when we go and sit with every individual, every refugee has a skill, and I was learning
I
from.
see. Okay.
I had a wonderful friend who was a very professional artist in drawing. I had a friend who was very professional writer. I had a friend who was a very professional of any skill he used to have, like carpenter, like mechanic. So people are coming with expertise. How do we make it possible to learn from them? Was one of the things we were doing there. On the other hand, we were coming to believe that we are learning by teaching. I had a little knowledge of something, and I was transferring it to some students who were younger than me or children. And within this process, I was learning a lot.
Let me translate first. Jadi saya tanya ke Ali. Jadi kan sebelum dia ngajar ke orang lain, dia kan harus belajar dulu. Saya nanya belajarnya dari mana? Tadi dia coba elaborasi. Jadi menurut Ali, pengungsi itu ada banyak dan bukan hanya dari Afghanistan dan banyak di antara mereka juga ada yang menguasai keterampilan tertentu. Misalnya tadi Ali mencontohkan ada yang jago menggambar, ada yang jago menulis, ada yang juga yang jago bahasa Inggris. Nah, Ali itu belajar ke orang-orang itu dengan langsung mempraktekannya, berbicara langsung. Dan Ali meyakini belajar yang terbaik adalah dengan cara mengajarinya juga ke orang. Before that,
Personally, I had a basic of English. I went to school. I went to classes when I was in my home country. I used to learn a lot from my family members as well. So I had a basic.
okay.
But I also had to, what pushed me to make use of all that I found myself here in detention was to push myself to make use of and improve on what I already knew. Yeah, there was a foundation, but then it wasn't that to this level, and so I had to be working on it.
Okay.
And I was pushing myself to learn by teaching, by interacting, by learning, spending a lot of time on this.
Oke, tadi saya nanya ke Ali, apakah sebelumnya waktu pertama dia datang, waktu masih sangat muda itu, dia bisa bahasa Inggris? Ya, dia punya basic bahasa Inggris karena di Afghanistan pun sekolah dan juga keluarganya pun mengajarinya juga, tapi hal-hal yang basic. Tapi berikutnya, walaupun di kamp pengungsian itu ada pengajaran juga, tapi untuk sampai ke level sekarang, ini kan sekarang kita lihat Ali begitu fasih kan bahasa Inggrisnya, itu perlu latihan lebih dari yang ada. Dia harus melatih diri sendiri dan juga mengajar gitu. You can continue your other activities with your refugees.
Yeah, so we kept learning together through the time, and days passed, months passed, years passed, and there was no change in the system to take people out of the detention centers, the camps, and making more available grounds for people to live better. We see no progress on that. What was important for me was all those stories going around the place that I was living, people coming there had a lot of stories to share. We were establishing a community that was inspiring us and giving us hope every day to continue. And after some times, I decided to I want to share stories.
Okay.
I want to
Go on.
use these stories for a good means. So I started writing stories of myself and stories going around. And I started to document stories in pictures and visuals, which later, both ways, ended up well with publishing my book last year and producing several films and documentaries of those stories, mainly focusing on refugees in Indonesia, human trafficking issues, or any migration-related stories.
Oke, jadi Ali juga cerita bahwa dia mulai menulis kisah-kisahnya dia dan sudah menjadi dalam suatu bentuk buku dan sudah dipublikasikan dan juga membuat beberapa film. Kebanyakan yang dibahas di buku dan film ini adalah tentang kehidupan para pengungsi di Indonesia. Okay, you can tell more about your book. What's the storyline and yeah, it's everything about book.
Yeah, I can tell, but you should read it. So do not summarize on what I say now. It's a lot more than what I can say. My book is an anthology of poetry and prose of my life and experiences delved into relating to war, relating to my time in Afghanistan, relating to my journey to Indonesia, relating to refugees situation, my feelings and emotions, the tough time I have gone through, and I didn't kind of narrate it directly as a story which is based on a sorted out timeline. No, I try to kind of turn this into an artistic way of expression, like creating poems out of challenges I was facing.
So all of the writing is poem, or there are some narratives?
There are.
Okay.
As like combination and collection of poems and proses, mainly on the issues that I mentioned.
Okay. Let me translate
Sure.
first. Jadi di dalam bukunya itu, buku-buku Ali itu isinya adalah kombinasi puisi dan juga naratif pun juga ada di dalamnya. Kebanyakan isu yang diangkat oleh Ali adalah tentang perang, pengungsian, migrasi, kesulitan-kesulitan. Tapi Ali menyampaikannya tidak dalam bentuk yang mungkin ya saya bayangkan tidak deskriptif, tapi lebih sesuatu yang lebih artistik. Jadi disampaikan secara puitis dan ini juga tidak bersifat kronologis. Jadi random saja isinya. Dan Ali menyarankan agar kita membaca langsung bukunya ketimbang diceritakan di sini. Itu mungkin lebih masuk gitu. Okay, we'll talk about your movie. How many movies that you produce?
Oh, I really didn't keep track of the numbers. There are a few, some, several, countless. Depends on how we see the stories. One film is telling stories. For me, those stories going out is more important than the number of produced films. But there were short documentaries starting from 2 minutes, medium timeline documentaries, half an hour, 20 minutes, and then long film, which was 1 hour. I had some projects with local Indonesians working on non-refugee related themes. But also most of the films I produced were documentaries related to refugees, and 2 films on human trafficking issues. So it was a total of some, as mentioned. And the most recent one, titled Fighting Forward, was screened in the ASEAN Civil Society Forum in early September and at Atmajaya University, Jakarta, the most recent one. Some of them are published online as well, so if you have time, you can check on the internet to watch. But some of them are not, considering the issues within the story and for the characters and subjects of the stories, so are not published online. But they are screened in film festivals, international exhibitions, and local screenings.
Can you share the letter, the link,
Yeah.
the link of your movie?
For those that are on the internet, I can share the link, so yeah, you can have access to
Okay.
watch.
Ya, ini beliau cerita tentang filmnya. Jadi filmnya tuh ada yang sifatnya cerita, tapi ada juga yang sifatnya dokumenter. Nah, isu-isu yang diangkatnya pun sama, masih seperti tadi, tentang human trafficking, pengungsian, ya, dan kehidupan-kehidupan seputar Ali lah. Ada juga yang sudah diputar ya tadi, in Asian, in Atmajaya.
Atmajaya University, ASEAN Civil Society. Forum.
The movie is a play, show to the people.
Yeah.
Oh ya, oke.
Yes.
Jadi filmnya sempat diputar di Atmajaya dan ditonton. Nanti teman-teman beres acara ini Ali akan berbagi link film yang telah dia buat. Ada. Oh, berapa menit waktunya? They tell me they already have your movie,
Okay.
and they want to play it here. It's okay?
Boleh banget. Yeah.
We can step aside because the
Right now or after?
Sekarang maksudnya kan? Sudah sih. Ya, nanti setelah kita putar film nanti kita bikin tanya jawab. Okay, we can step aside.
We watch now.
Yes.
Okay,
we watch now.
that's great.
But then we have question for you from the audience.
After the movie.
That's great. Okay.